luxury. Look it up in a dictionary and there might be a picture of this right next to it. This is the Land Rover Range Rover, and it's the latest and greatest from that British car maker that makes all kinds of lovely things that go on and off-road. This one is part evolution and part revolution.
Let's get some details out of the way first. There are 9 Range Rover iterations available, if you're not counting the SV model, which for our purposes we're not. The base model P400 SE comes with a 3-liter turbocharged inline-6. That comes in a long wheelbase version that gets a 7-seat configuration. Yes, that third row is big news for this big luxurious beast, and we'll get into that, literally, in a bit. Every Range Rover beyond that comes with a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 and comes in either short or long wheelbase, meaning either a 4 or 5 or 7-seat configuration. There's also an Autobiography edition, that's British for fancy, or a first edition, British for even fancier. None of those prices posted include destination or taxes and licensing fees.
So there is a plug-in hybrid coming. No, it's not this one. That's not coming until 2023. It's going to get 434 horsepower and going to have 48 miles of pure electric range. Like I said, you're going to have to wait a while. Same thing for an all EV version. That's not coming out until 2024. So those are both problems for future Lynn videos for her to do later.
The exterior design is part of the evolution that I mentioned up front. This is still very clearly a Range Rover. Land Rover does a great job here of maintaining the integrity of the styling and design language, but modernizing it and bringing it into the future. The flush door handles come from both the Velar and Evoque.
The Range Rover maintains 3 really classic lines. This one here, this one on the belt line here, and this boat tail design in the rear. Those 3, along with a short overhang, have been around for 50 years. I really like how Land Rover has brought them into the modern age with this iteration.
The only place it loses me a little bit is in the rear. The squircle tail lights are gone and it gets a bit of a pinched look. It's not as comely as it used to be, but without a doubt you instantly know what it is, and it's simple, classy, and elegant. All the things I dream of being. The interior is where we start to see more revolution with modern screens, minimalist design language, and some environmentally conscious textiles and finishes. Leather and some forward-thinking fabrics from Ultra Fabrics and Kvadrat make the interior of the Range Rover absolutely beautiful. It's just next level. Of course, everywhere you put an elbow or a hand, it feels soft to the touch and luxurious.
The tech in here is pretty luxe too.
It integrates Amazon Alexa as well as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, all wireless, as well as wireless charging, so that you're connected while you're driving via this touchscreen.
I've traditionally not been a huge fan of Land Rover's UX system. This is the new EVA 2.0, and you know, I'm gonna tell you, I still feel like it's pretty layered and it's not terribly intuitive. I mean, it's taken me a really long time just to figure out how to set up my radio station.
The more bells and whistles we put on vehicles, the more layered these systems get, so I understand. At least you can customize this one and set it up how you want it. Oh, and the resolution on the cameras is great, as are the graphics on the touchscreen, and those are both huge pluses.
So the big news here is now the Range Rover comes with an optional 3rd row of seats. First, we're going to check out the 2nd row and just see how it does. As expected, I have plenty of room, both leg room, and this is as far back as the seat goes, and of course headroom, because this thing is so tall. But let's check out the 3rd row. So you only get a power seat, which, I mean, come on guy, there we go. Which takes a little bit longer than you want, but we're gonna get back in here and see. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, for wheels? I guess you have to mean it. Yeah, I really wouldn't want to sit back here for too long.
It also gets an optional Meridian sound system that makes for great music, but also has a noise-canceling technology which monitors wheel vibration, tire noise, and engine sounds, mitigating those for a first-class cabin experience.
To be honest, that was one of the first things I noticed when I got into the car. There was actually a little bit more wind noise from the front windshield than I anticipated. I was on the highway right away, so it was very noticeable. The other thing that you do get is a bit of road noise. That's going to be thanks to those low-profile tires. You know, it's something that you can expect from that, but it's definitely not exactly the same quiet that you get from a luxury sedan.
The Range Rover rides on a new MLA Flex body platform, which is controlled by Land Rover's integrated chassis control system that adjusts driving dynamics and controls how the Range Rover delivers you from place to place.
Every new Range Rover gets all-wheel steering, and the system on this particular SUV, it's so subtle you don't even feel that it's doing it, but you really do appreciate it, especially on this long wheelbase. So you're going to be a lot more maneuverable, a lot more nimble, both on and off the road. It's such a great system, and I'm really excited to see it implemented in a lot more cars moving forward.
It gets another system called Dynamic Response Pro, which helps with the body roll stability and comes with the standard fully independent air suspension. Look, the truth is you're never going to fully avoid body roll in here, it's just physics. But the Range Rover does a solid job of keeping you feeling as planted as you're going to be in something this big and this tall.
That suspension makes the ride in the Range Rover so incredibly comfortable. And I'm not just talking about on-road either. So when you do take this off-road, if you do take this off-road, you really are going to feel how much more cushioned you are over bumps and rough terrain than you would with a spring suspension.
It's not just on-road, but the off-road comfort is pretty next level here, same as in the Defender. It's surprisingly capable and also extremely cushiony when you're going over some rougher terrain.
In the first example of the Range Rover that I drove, it was a V8, I did experience a little bit of soft brake pedal.
When I got into the 6-cylinder, what I think will be the volume model, it felt much better.
I really do not have any issue with them. The brakes feel nice and strong. They definitely feel like they are enough for the weight of this car. So I'm gonna basically attribute that previous experience with the softer brakes just to maybe overuse from other journalists, I guess.
Power in the inline 6 feels plentiful. The throttle response is smooth and I don't feel much lag from the turbo. Just a steady acceleration. I did get to spend some time in the V8 as well, and it hauls. But on the example I was in, I didn't feel the throttle mapping was quite as smooth as in the 6-cylinder. The power delivery felt a bit jerky. Don't get me wrong, acceleration is great, but I didn't find it as smooth and therefore not as comfortable a drive as the 6-cylinder.
The Range Rover is of course equipped with Land Rover's Terrain Response 2 program. That sets you up for mud, snow, ruts, rock crawling. This system will adjust things like the electronic lockers, suspension settings, throttle settings, all of those kinds of things. This particular system, I think personally, is a very, very good one. It does a great job figuring out what terrain you're in, what you're going to need. If you're not going to adjust it yourself, just set it to auto and you're really going to be in good shape. It really, to me, is second to Ford's system, which I think Ford has a great terrain response system as well, but this one is absolutely top-notch. Overall, as far as driving the Range Rover is concerned, it's going to be exactly what you think and expect it to be. It's comfortable, it's luxurious. My goodness, it even smells good in here. You know, I always think Land Rover does such a great job, and the Range Rover is no exception.
The Land Rover Range Rover is arguably one of the most recognizable cars on the road. And this one still looks like a queen, only now a little bit more modern. With American SUVs and trucks getting into the $100,000 mark, the Range Rover doesn't even seem like it's that expensive anymore. It's in dealerships now. Go check it out.